My fiancée of 5 years stood in our apartment, suitcase packed for her 6-week European vacation with her college friends. We'd been planning our wedding for 8 months. The invitations were already mailed, but then she said 5 words that changed everything. I think we need a break. Not a pause, not a delay. A break. The day before she left for Europe. And before I could even respond, she blocked me on everything. Phone, Instagram, Facebook, email, all of it. Before we continue, if this story resonates with you, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our next story. My name is Darius Thompson, and I'm 38 years old. I work as an IT consultant in Atlanta. Candace Williams had been my whole world for 5 years. We met at a mutual friend's cookout. She was beautiful, smart, had a great laugh. We clicked right away. For 5 years, everything felt right. Sunday dinners at Mama's house, Saturday mornings at the farmer's market, church together every week at Mount Zion Baptist. We weren't just a couple. We were a team, or so I thought. The wedding was set for October. We'd booked the venue. My mama had already bought her mother of the groom dress. Candace's sister Denise was the maid of honor. We'd put down deposits on everything. The photographer, the caterer, the DJ. We'd even found an apartment together. A nice 2-bedroom in Buckhead. We were supposed to move in together right after the honeymoon. Everything was falling into place. Then came that Wednesday evening in July. Candace was leaving Thursday morning for Europe. 6 weeks. Paris, Rome, Barcelona, Amsterdam. Her college friends Monique, Shanice, and Tanya had been planning this trip for 2 years. I was happy for her. I really was. She deserved a break from work. She'd been grinding hard at her marketing firm, pulling long hours, stressed out. I thought the trip would be good for her. I came home from work around 6. Candace was in the bedroom, packing. Her suitcase was open on the bed. Clothes everywhere. I walked in smiling, ready to help her finish packing. "Hey, baby," I said. "You almost ready? You want me to help?" She didn't look at me, just kept folding a sweater. "Darius, we need to talk." My stomach dropped. Those 4 words. Nothing good ever follows those 4 words. "What's wrong?" I asked. She finally looked at me. Her face was calm. Too calm. Like she'd rehearsed this. "I think we're moving too fast," she said. "Moving too fast. Candace, we've been together 5 years." "I know. But I've been thinking. The wedding. Moving in together. It's all happening so quick. Quick. We've been engaged for 8 months. She shook her head. "I just need some time to think. Some space." "Space? You're about to be gone for 6 weeks. That's plenty of space." "No, Darius. I mean real space. I think we should take a break." The room felt like it was spinning. A break. The word hung in the air like smoke. "A break," I repeated. "You want to take a break, the day before you leave for Europe?" "Yes." "For 6 weeks?" "Yes." I stood there, trying to process what was happening. My mind was racing. A break meant what, exactly? Were we still engaged? Were we still together? What was I supposed to tell people? "Candace, talk to me. What's going on?" "Did I do something wrong?" "You didn't do anything wrong. I just need time to figure out what I want." "And you couldn't figure this out before we sent 200 wedding invitations." She looked away. Wouldn't meet my eyes. That's when I knew. Something else was going on. This wasn't just cold feet. This was something deeper. But what I didn't know then was just how much worse it would get. I tried to talk to her, tried to understand, but she shut down. Completely. She finished packing in silence. I stood there, helpless, watching the woman I loved close herself off from me. The next morning, she left for the airport at 5 a.m. I didn't sleep that night, just laid in bed, staring at the ceiling. When her Uber arrived, she grabbed her suitcase and walked out the door. "Candace, wait," I called after her. She turned around in the doorway. "Can we at least talk while you're gone? Figure this out?" "I need space, Darius. Complete space. I'll reach out when I'm ready." Then she was gone. An hour later, I tried calling her. Straight to voicemail. I texted her. The messages turned green. She'd blocked me. I checked Instagram. Blocked. Facebook. Blocked. Even her email bounced back. She'd cut me off completely. I called my best friend, Jamal. He came over right away. "Man, what happened?" he asked, walking into my apartment with 2 coffees. I told him everything. The break, the blocking, all of it. Jamal sat there, shaking his head. "Nah, man, that ain't right. You don't drop that on somebody and then ghost them. That's cold." "What do I do?" "What do you mean? What do you do? She told you what she wants. She wants a break. So give her a break. A permanent one." I looked at him. "What?" "Darius, listen to me. She blocked you. On everything. You think that's normal? You think that's what somebody does when they just need time to think? Maybe she just needs space to clear her head. Or maybe she's doing something in Europe she doesn't want you to know about." The thought had crossed my mind, but I didn't want to believe it. Couldn't believe it. Jamal put his hand on my shoulder. "Brother, I'm telling you this because I love you. Don't sit here waiting for her. Don't be somebody's backup plan. You deserve better than that." His words sat heavy in my chest. That Sunday, I went to Mama's house for dinner. She took one look at me and knew something was wrong. "Baby, what happened?" she asked, pulling me into the kitchen. I told her. Everything. Mama's face went from concerned to angry in about 3 seconds. "She did what?" Mama said, her voice rising. "That girl asked for a break and then blocked you? Oh no, 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 no. Mama, maybe she just... Don't you dare make excuses for her, Darius. That's disrespectful. After 5 years, after all we've done for her, I welcomed that girl into this family like she was my own daughter." My mama, Evelyn Thompson, is not someone you want to cross. She's 67 years old, raised 4 kids by herself after my daddy passed, and doesn't tolerate nonsense from anybody. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I don't know, Mama. Wait, I guess. See what she says when she gets back." Mama crossed her arms. "Wait? For 6 weeks? While she's out there doing God knows what? What else can I do?" My Aunt Naomi walked into the kitchen. She'd been listening from the dining room. "Baby," Aunt Naomi said, her voice gentle but firm. "Let me tell you something. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. This girl just showed you that when things get hard, she runs. And she doesn't just run. She burns the bridge behind her so you can't follow. But we've been together 5 years. And that's exactly why this is so messed up," Aunt Naomi said. "If she had doubts, she should have come to you months ago, not the day before she left. That's coward behavior." The words stung because they were true. That week, I couldn't focus on anything. Work was a blur. I barely ate, barely slept. I kept checking my phone, hoping she'd unblock me, hoping for a text, an email, something. Nothing came. By the 2nd week, something shifted inside me. Jamal's words kept replaying in my head. "Don't be somebody's backup plan." Is that what I was? Her backup plan, her safety net while she went off to find herself in Europe. The anger started to build. I thought about our relationship, really thought about it. Had there been signs, things I'd missed? The more I thought, the more I realized. Yes, there had been signs. The last few months, Candace had been distant, on her phone more, staying late at work more often. When I'd bring up the wedding, she'd change the subject. I'd chalked it up to work stress. But maybe it wasn't work at all. By the third week, I made a decision. I wasn't going to wait around like a fool. If Candace wanted a break, she could have a permanent one. I called the wedding venue, cancelled everything. They kept the deposit, but I didn't care. I called the caterer, the photographer, the DJ, cancelled it all. Then I called the apartment complex in Buckhead, cancelled our lease, lost that deposit too. I texted the groomsmen in our group chat. Wedding's off, I'll explain later. I called Candace's sister Denise. Darius, what's going on? Is everything okay? No, Denise, it's not. Candace asked for a break the day before she left. Then she blocked me on everything. I haven't heard from her in 3 weeks. Silence on the other end. She what? You didn't know? No. She told me everything was fine. She said you were good with her taking the trip. Well, apparently she left out some details. Anyway, I'm calling to let you know the wedding's cancelled. I've already handled everything. Darius, wait. Don't you think you should talk to her first? Maybe this is just what, Denise? Cold feet? If she had cold feet, we could have talked about it. She didn't want to talk. She wanted to disappear. So I'm giving her what she wants. Freedom. I hung up before she could respond. The next day, my phone started blowing up. Candace's friends, her family, people from church, all asking what happened, all trying to get me to reconsider. I ignored most of them. But what I didn't know was that Candace would be back in 2 weeks. And when she walked back into my life, expecting everything to be exactly as she left it, she was about to get the shock of her life. Week 5. Candace came back early. I found out because my phone rang at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. It was her, and she was crying. Not sad crying, angry crying. The kind of crying that comes right before someone starts yelling. "Darius, what did you do?" she screamed into the phone. I sat up in bed, calm, collected. I'd been preparing for this moment for 3 weeks. "Hello, Candace. Welcome back." "Don't welcome back me. I called the venue. They said you cancelled. The photographer said you cancelled. Everything is cancelled. What is wrong with you? You asked for a break. I gave you one. A permanent break." A permanent? Darius, are you serious right now? I said I needed time to think. And I gave you time. 6 weeks. That's what you wanted, right? Space to figure out what you want? Yes, but I didn't mean... You didn't mean what, Candace? You blocked me on everything for 5 weeks. What was I supposed to think? Silence on the other end, then more crying. I was scared, okay? I was having doubts and I didn't know how to talk to you about it. So I thought if I had some distance, some time away, I could clear my head and figure things out. And did you? Figure things out? Yes, I realized I made a mistake. I love you, Darius. I want to marry you. I came back early to fix this. I took a deep breath. This was the moment I'd been rehearsing in my head for weeks. I'm glad you figured out what you want, Candace. But I figured out what I want, too. And it's not this. It's not someone who runs away when things get hard. It's not someone who blocks me for few weeks and expects me to just sit around waiting. Baby, please, we can fix this. We can postpone the wedding. There is no wedding, Candace. I cancelled it. I cancelled the apartment. I cancelled everything. We're done. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life. She started hyperventilating, gasping for air between sobs. Darius, you're making a huge mistake. We've been together 5 years. You're going to throw that away. No, Candace, you threw it away. The day you asked for a break and blocked me. I'm just accepting reality. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt something else too. Relief, like a weight had been lifted off my chest. She called back immediately. I didn't answer. She called again and again, 15 times in a row. I blocked her number. The next morning, she showed up at my apartment, banging on the door at 7 a.m. "Darius, open this door! We need to talk!" I was getting ready for work. I ignored her. "I know you're in there. Your car is in the parking lot." "Darius!" My neighbor across the hall opened his door, looked at Candace, then looked at me through my peephole. I could see his face. He looked concerned. I opened the door. Candace looked terrible. Hair all over the place, eyes red and puffy, still wearing the same clothes from the airport. "Candace, you need to leave." "No. Not until we talk. We talked last night. There's nothing left to say." "How can you be so cold, after everything we've been through?" "I'm not cold, Candace. I'm done. There's a difference." She tried to push past me into the apartment. I blocked the doorway. "You're really going to do this? You're really going to throw away 5 years because I needed some space?" "You didn't need space. You needed to see if there was something better out there, and maybe you found it in Europe. I don't know. I don't care. But I'm not going to be your backup plan." Her face changed, from sad to angry in a split second. "My backup plan? Is that what you think this is? What else would you call it?" "I call it being scared. I call it having normal doubts before a major life decision. You've never had doubts about anything, Darius." "Of course I have. But I don't run away and ghost the people I love when I have doubts. I talk about them." "I tried to talk. You didn't listen." "When, Candace? When did you try to talk? Because the first I heard about any doubts was the day before you left for Europe." She had no answer for that. "That's what I thought," I said. "Now please leave before I have to call security." She stared at me, eyes full of tears. Then she turned and walked away. I thought that was the end of it. But that wasn't even the worst part. The next day I started getting calls. Candace's sister Denise, her mum, her friends Monique and Shanice, even Calvin from church, all of them trying to convince me to give her another chance. "Darius, she made a mistake," Denise said. "She's sorry. Can't you find it in your heart to forgive her?" "Denise, with all due respect, this isn't about forgiveness. This is about respect. And Candace didn't respect me or our relationship. She was scared. We were both scared. Getting married is scary, but you don't handle fear by running away and blocking your partner for 5 weeks. Calvin called me that evening. "Brother Darius, I heard what happened. Can we meet up, grab some coffee and talk?" Calvin Henderson was 41, deacon at our church, good brother, always tried to see the best in people. We met at a coffee shop downtown. "Listen, man," Calvin said, "I know you're hurt. I get it. But don't you think you're being a little harsh, cancelling the wedding without even trying to work it out?" "Calvin, she blocked me. For 5 weeks. How was I supposed to work anything out?" "I understand that. But she came back, didn't she? She realized she made a mistake. That counts for something. It counts for nothing if she only came back because she thought everything would still be here waiting for her. That's not love, Calvin. That's entitlement." Calvin sat back in his chair, thinking. "You know what your problem is, Darius. You're too prideful. You'd rather be right than be happy." That stung, because part of me wondered if he was right. But then I remembered how I felt those 5 weeks. The anxiety, the sleepless nights, the constant checking of my phone. The humiliation of telling people the wedding might not happen. No, I wasn't being prideful. I was being smart. "Calvin, I appreciate you trying to help, but my decision is final." Week 6. Candace started sending letters, actual handwritten letters, showing up in my mailbox. The first one was 3 pages long, all about how sorry she was, how she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, how she'd do anything to fix it. I didn't respond. The second letter was 5 pages, talking about all our memories together, our first date, the day I proposed, Sunday dinners at Mama's house. I didn't respond. The third letter was different. It was angry. "You're being selfish and cruel," she wrote, "after everything I've done for you, after all the times I supported you. This is how you repay me. You're a coward, Darius. You're afraid of real love. You're afraid of commitment." I threw that one in the trash. Then things got weird. Week 7. Jamal called me. "Yo, D, you know Candace is telling people you cheated on her?" "What?" "Yeah, man. Monique posted something on Facebook about men who can't keep it in their pants and tagged Candace. People are putting 2 and 2 together." My blood boiled. "I never cheated on her. Not once." "I know that. You know that. But she's out here trying to flip the narrative, make herself look like the victim." I couldn't believe it. After everything, she was going to lie on me. I called Denise. "Denise, tell your sister to stop spreading lies about me. I never cheated on her, ever." "Darius, I don't know what you're talking about. She's telling people I cheated. That's why I ended things. That's a lie and you know it." Denise sighed. "Look, Candace is hurt. She's lashing out. Just ignore it. It'll blow over." "Blow over? She's destroying my reputation. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you cancelled the wedding." I hung up. That Sunday I didn't go to church. I couldn't face people. Couldn't deal with the whispers, the stares, the judgment. Mama called me 3 times. I finally answered on the 3rd call. "Boy, why weren't you at church?" "Mama, I just needed a break." "A break from what? From God?" "From people, Mama. Candace is spreading lies about me, saying I cheated. I can't deal with that right now." Mama was quiet for a moment. "Baby, listen to me. Hold your head up. You didn't do anything wrong. People who know you know your character. The rest don't matter. It matters to me, Mama. My reputation matters. Then set the record straight. Post something on Facebook. Tell people the truth. I'm not going to air out our business on social media." "Then you're going to let her control the narrative. Is that what you want?" She was right, but I was too proud to admit it. Week 8. Things escalated. Candace showed up at Mama's house on a Sunday afternoon during family dinner. I was sitting at the dining room table with Mama, Aunt Naomi, and my cousin Terrell. We were eating pot roast when the doorbell rang. Mama got up to answer it. I heard her voice from the foyer. "Candace, what are you doing here?" Then I heard Candace's voice, crying, begging. "Mrs. Thompson, please. I need to talk to Darius. I need to make this right." I got up and walked to the door. Candace was standing on the porch, mascara running down her face, holding a folder in her hands. "Darius, please. Just give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Candace, you need to leave. I scheduled us for couples counseling. Next week, Tuesday at 6. Here's the information." She held out the folder. I didn't take it. "I'm not going to counseling with you. We're not a couple anymore. We can fix this. Please, baby. Please, I love you." Mama put her hand on my shoulder. "Son, maybe you should just hear her out." I looked at Mama, shocked. "What?" 5 minutes won't hurt. Let her say her piece. Then she can go." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Even Mama was siding with her now. But what happened next changed everything. Because as Candace stepped into the house, she said something that made my blood run cold. "I know you've been spending a lot of time at home lately. I've seen your car. Every night. Same parking spot." I froze. "What did you just say?" Candace realized her mistake immediately. Her face went pale. I just meant I drove by a few times, just to see if you were okay. A few times? Candace, have you been watching my apartment? She didn't answer, just looked down at the floor. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about getting me back. This was about control, and she wasn't going to stop. The room went completely silent. Mama's hand dropped from my shoulder. Aunt Naomi stood up from the dining table. Even Candace seemed to realize she'd just crossed a line she couldn't uncross. You've been stalking me, I said. My voice was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that comes right before an explosion. No, not stalking, I wanted to make sure you were okay. By watching my apartment, checking my parking spot. Candace, that's not concern. That's stalking. Mama stepped between us. Candace, I think you need to leave right now. But Mrs. Thompson, right now. Candace looked at me one more time, desperation in her eyes. Then she turned and ran down the porch steps, got in her car and drove off. I stood there, shaking, not from fear, from anger. How long had she been watching me? Days? Weeks? Mama closed the door and turned to face me. Baby, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was like that. I thought she was just a heartbroken girl trying to fix a mistake, but that? Mama shook her head. That's not right. Aunt Naomi came to the doorway. Darius, you need to file a police report. That girl is not stable. I don't want to get the police involved. You might not have a choice, Aunt Naomi said. People like that don't just stop on their own. They escalate. I didn't want to believe her, but deep down, I knew she was right. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Candace had said. Same parking spot. Every night. How many times had she driven by? Had she been sitting outside watching my windows? The next morning, I called a lawyer. A family friend named Jerome who handled restraining orders. Darius, good to hear from you. What's going on? I explained everything. The break, the blocking, the letters, the showing up at Mama's house, the stalking. Jerome was quiet for a moment. How many times has she been to your apartment? At least twice that I know of. Plus she admitted to driving by multiple times to check if I was home. And you've told her to leave you alone? Multiple times. Then you have grounds for a restraining order. But I gotta warn you, brother. This is going to make things worse before they get better. She's going to see it as you attacking her. She might lash out. What choice do I have, Jerome? She's not stopping. You're right. Let me draw up the paperwork. We can file by the end of the week. I hung up, feeling both relieved and terrified. But I didn't know that the truth about Europe was about to come out, and it would change everything. Wednesday afternoon. I was at work when my phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. Darius, it's Monique, Candace's friend. Can we talk? It's important. Monique Hayes, one of the girls who went to Europe with Candace. Why would she be texting me? I called the number. Hello? Monique's voice was shaky. Monique, it's Darius. What's going on? I need to tell you something. Something Candace doesn't know I know. Can we meet? In person? My heart started racing. Where? We met at a Panera Bread near my office. Monique looked nervous, kept looking over her shoulder like someone might be watching. Darius, I'm sorry for what I'm about to tell you, but you deserve to know the truth. What truth? She took a deep breath. In Europe, in Paris, Candace met someone. My stomach dropped. What do you mean, met someone? His name was Philippe, French guy. We met him at a club our second night there. He was charming, funny, rich, like really rich. He took us all to dinner at this expensive restaurant, but he was really interested in Candace. I felt like I was going to be sick. They started hanging out, a lot. The rest of us would go sightseeing and Candace would stay back to be with him. At first we thought it was just a vacation fling, something fun. But then what? Monique looked me dead in the eyes. He proposed to her. After 2 weeks, asked her to stay in Paris, marry him, move there permanently. The room started spinning. And she said yes. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All I could do was sit there, staring at Monique. But there's more, Monique continued. After she said yes, she called Denise, her sister, told her everything, asked her what to do. Denise told her she was being crazy, that she couldn't throw away 5 years with you for some guy she just met. They argued for hours on the phone. So that's why she asked for a break, I said, my voice hollow. She wanted to explore her options. Yes, she wanted to see if things with Philippe were real, if she could actually build a life with him. She told us she was going to wait until the end of the trip to decide. And what did she decide? Monique looked down at the table. Philippe got weird, started getting possessive, wanted her to delete all her social media, cut off her friends back home. Even us. Candace realized he wasn't who she thought he was. She broke off the engagement 3 days before we were supposed to leave. Everything clicked into place. The desperation, the letters, the stalking, the smear campaign. She came back to me because her backup plan fell through. I'm so sorry, Darius. I should have told you sooner. But Candace made us all promise not to say anything. She said it would ruin everything. But after seeing what she's putting you through, the lies she's telling, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I sat there, processing everything. 5 years. 5 years of my life. And she'd been willing to throw it all away for some guy she met in a club in Paris. Does anyone else know about this? I asked. Just me, Shanice, and Tanya, the girls who were on the trip, and Denise. But Denise is protecting her sister. She's not going to say anything. Thank you for telling me, Monique. I'm sorry it had to be this way. You're a good man, Darius. You deserved better than what she did to you. I left that meeting feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Vindication. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't cruel. I'd made the right decision. That night, I called Jerome. File the restraining order. Tomorrow. You got it, brother. Thursday evening, the restraining order was served. Candace had to stay at least 100 yards away from me, my apartment, my workplace, and Mama's house. I thought that would be the end of it. But Candace had one more move to make. Friday morning, I woke up to 57 missed calls, all from different numbers. Candace's friends, her family, people from church, all of them calling to tell me what a monster I was for filing a restraining order. My phone was blowing up with text messages. How could you do this to her? She's devastated. You're ruining her life. I ignored them all. Then Calvin called. Darius, man. A restraining order? Really? Calvin, she was stalking me. What was I supposed to do? Stalking? She was just trying to talk to you. She was watching my apartment, checking my parking spot, showing up at my mama's house. That's stalking. You're overreacting. She's just hurt. You know what, Calvin? I'm tired of defending myself. Tired of people telling me I'm the bad guy. I didn't ask for a break. I didn't block anybody. I didn't lie about what happened. She did. All of that was her, and now she's facing the consequences. I hung up before he could respond. That Sunday, I went back to church, walked in with my head held high, sat in my usual spot, 5th row, left side. People stared, whispered, but I didn't care. Pastor Williams preached about forgiveness that day, about letting go of anger, about giving people second chances. I felt like the sermon was directed at me. After service, Pastor Williams called me into his office. Brother Darius, how are you holding up? I'm fine, Pastor. I heard about what happened with Sister Candace. I'm sure you've heard a lot of things. Pastor Williams leaned back in his chair. I've heard many different versions, but I want to hear yours. So I told him. Everything. The break, the blocking, the stalking, and what Monique had told me about Philippe in Paris. Pastor Williams sat there, taking it all in. Son, I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. You did the right thing. I looked up, shocked. A lot of people in this church have been talking, saying you're being too harsh, too unforgiving, but they don't know what I know. Marriage is sacred. It's a covenant. And if someone can treat you this way before marriage, when they're supposed to be on their best behavior, how will they treat you after? Tears started forming in my eyes. You protected yourself, Pastor Williams continued. You set a boundary. You enforced that boundary. That's not cruelty. That's wisdom. The Bible says to guard your heart above all else. You did that. For the first time in 2 months, I felt like someone actually understood. 3 months later. Life started to feel normal again. I was sleeping better, eating better, working out, hanging out with Jamal on weekends, going to church without anxiety. The restraining order worked. Candace stopped contacting me, stopped showing up places. From what I heard through the grapevine, she'd moved to Charlotte, got a new job, started fresh somewhere else. I ran into Denise at the grocery store one day. She saw me and looked like she wanted to hide, but I walked up to her. Hey, Denise. Darius, hi. Awkward silence. How's Candace doing? I asked. Denise looked surprised that I'd even ask. She's okay. Getting help. Therapy. She knows she messed up. I hope she finds what she's looking for. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For pressuring you. For not believing you. Monique told me she talked to you. About Paris. I should have told you myself. You were protecting your sister. I get it. Denise's eyes filled with tears. You're a better person than me, Darius. I'm just trying to move forward. We said our goodbyes, and for the first time since this whole thing started, I felt peace. 6 months later, Mama's birthday dinner. The whole family was there. Aunt Naomi, my cousins, even Jamal came. We were sitting around the table, laughing, eating Mama's famous peach cobbler when Aunt Naomi raised her glass. I want to make a toast to Darius for showing us what it means to know your worth, for showing us that love without respect is not love at all, and for teaching this family that it's okay to walk away from people who don't treat you right. Even when it's hard, even when everyone's telling you you're wrong, you stood firm. And I'm proud of you, baby. Everyone raised their glasses. To Darius. I looked around the table at all the faces I loved, the people who'd stuck by me, who'd believed in me, who'd supported me even when I doubted myself. And I realized something. Losing Candace hadn't broken me. It had freed me to find someone who would choose me every single day, who wouldn't run when things got hard, who wouldn't treat me like an option. I deserved that, and I wasn't going to settle for anything less. Mama squeezed my hand across the table and smiled. You did good, baby. You did real good. And for the first time in a long time, I believed her. That's the end of this story. If it touched your heart, please leave a like and subscribe. Have you experienced something similar? Share your story in the comments below.